I'm Spath,
And I'm Meshi.
and this is the Spath and Meshi podcast. So, welcome to the podcast. I'm Spath, as I already said, and Meshi is with me, as well as a guest. Meshi, would you like to introduce our guest?
Yes, we have a special guest on our wonderfully second time doing this because, so much. It was so boring the first time we had to bring someone else in. Our very special guest today is a good friend of mine I've known pretty much my entire life. His name is also that of a dinner food, which you have left out too long, cold rice.
Hello.
Why would you leave rice out that long? I mean, it's delicious.
You wouldn't have to leave it out. You can start as cold rice. You never have to heat it up.
That's true. I mean, I've played enough DayZ to know that you can eat rice uncooked.
I think I've actually done it before. Yeah. It was
Would not
a
recommend.
great experience. No, I would not recommend it myself either.
Probably very crunchy and dry, I would imagine.
Well, since we're just starting out and we're trying to kind of ease into things, how was your week, Meshi? Like, we had a podcast and then there was a whole week there. You did?
Oh, yes.
I hope.
Actually, a week and 2 days because we did it on Tuesday last week, which you reminded me because I seriously didn't remember. It was pretty good, relatively uneventful, very cold, and had a lot of sushi on Sunday. Actually, cold rice was there as well.
That was pretty good. Not the best sushi, but it was a lot of it.
Yes, yeah, it's quantity over quality. I mean, it's not bad sushi, don't get me wrong, but there are better options. But
I'm still very disappointed I wasn't invited for this sushi. I had to go buy my own and enjoy it by myself. So,
well,
good friends. God.
I think that by the way, apparently you need to turn your volume up a smidge.
I haven't any messages in the chat.
Well, the only problem with that, Spath, is that I think that the travel costs for you would have been more than it would have been worth.
I could have stayed for a while.
Oh, that's true.
Would have made it worthwhile.
I wasn't even
Yeah.
thinking. Your chat's open. I need to open that chat then.
And my chat.
Oh my god, there's too many chats. Too many chats.
I assume they're all in Meshi's chat because that's the channel I told them to go to because we thought something was all different and then it wasn't. So that's all my fault. That's all on me. So,
Well, no, I mean it was a communication breakdown, so it wasn't. It was we're both at fault. But I mean, if I had to pick one person to blame, it'd be you.
You know what? You're a good friend. Such a good friend. A little better for you. You got a little better. I'll hear from you in a little bit, probably. Maybe. We'll see.
Oh, that's a lot of bass.
All about that bass. About that bass. Okay, we're gonna stop. Now that I got that loaded up.
I don't know why my
So,
Twitch isn't twitching.
it probably is twitching. In fact, that's probably the problem.
Is it-
the fact that it's twitching?
Is it because you're hosting me, who is hosting Spath?
That might be
Maybe.
a little
I can see
awkward.
yours, but mine says offline.
Anyway, I'm gonna pretend.
Maybe you can't do double hosting.
I'm gonna pretend that we know what we're doing at this point. We're gonna keep going.
No one does.
So,
You're so clueless.
so
Anyway, yes, let's get on topic here. We've already derailed.
our first topic of discussion. Well, for one, we should probably talk about why we have a guest this time. Besides the fact that we consider ourselves so boring last time that we needed a guest to liven things up, Cold Rice is here because he kind of wanted to discuss some things with us. Right, Cold Rice?
Yeah, you need to clean up your desk a bit. It's a mess.
Oh, thanks.
Alright, see you later.
Fantastic.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Aww.
Myself with my dirty desk, and you just get all over.
Oh, French press.
Oh yeah, French press. I didn't mean to bring.
Oh, there's
it
a
up.
French press back there?
No, he's using one. And I'm watching him.
I
don't-
didn't mean to bring it into camera view. I was just trying to push it down because it's time.
I tapped for 1 second.
Because it's time. I thought you were proving that your desk wasn't too messy. Like, French press.
Yeah, French press totally makes it less messy. You haven't seen my desk. You can see the headboard for my bed. But
Okay, I didn't know that was a bed.
that is my bed, which I try and cover very, very quickly with my sheets. But, So
May I suggest that we speak about coffee methods a little bit later because I want to get into the details of the difference between French press and AeroPress. This is something I actually have a little bit of
oh god.
knowledge with.
I got a French press in
And
Argentina.
let's get on topic. Let's get on topic.
Yes, yes. So, Connors, please explain to everybody what your idea was, besides the fact that he needs to clean his room a little bit.
Okay, so I forget if it was like last podcast or some other time, like someone mentioned like, oh, it'd be nice to just get paid to play games that like some people do. So I was thinking, well, if you ever want that to actually happen, maybe we could actually like organize something and maybe get a bunch of people together and actually like have planned like streaming like these days, these games. Like have a list of games and stream them and like play games together. And then like post the videos on YouTube like in chunks, like not just all at once, because no one wants to watch like a 3-hour video of someone playing Terraria.
So
Except
what
you
you're
Well,
trying to
maybe
tell
some,
me
maybe some people.
is I have to take my valuable time and waste it playing with you guys?
Not necessarily. I was thinking play a Cloudberry.
Ew.
Oh God. Okay.
Okay,
All right. Wow.
Oh.
That idea just went from great to shit right there.
Okay, we're not doing any of that. Fuck that.
Okay.
But we are gamers. This is kind of a fact here. I mean, it's not hard to tell even by just one podcast where we talked about ourselves for a little bit. We do want to get into that, so we will get into streaming games on set schedules when we can. Of course, everybody knows my situation right now is my schedule's kind of all over the place, so I can't make a set time to play games. But these guys, Meshi and Cold Rice, they can. They have that ability. So, oh look, someone has my chat now. It's gonna be confusing as hell. They will set up times, and I will get that information to you guys if you want to view them playing games. I will, of course, try and be around when they're doing that to help add commentary myself and play games as I can, but that's going to be focused more on them until I can get a set schedule.
And another thing to add to that is just an idea, and this is something I've actually done in the past, which not often, and only with League of Legends because I am sadly obsessed with that game. But it is like shoutcasting games, like other people play it, and you like add the commentary, like like what Spath was just saying there. So that would also be a possibility. So it might not even be with like, it might just be random people or something that are different games. But anyway, I guess the point I'm trying to say here is that so there's anything like any suggestions like on games you'd be interested in, or even just genres of games, feel free to let us know.
I think that also leads us into a good segue of what kind of games do we like playing. I mean, of course, we all sort of met through playing League of Legends, so that's obviously high on there. Do we like other MOBAs? Do we prefer, like... Remember that the way we met was through a website for an MMO, so maybe we want to play some MMOs. Like, what do you personally like playing, Meshi?
Well, I mean, I have this weird fondness slash masochistic ways of playing League of Legends, because no matter how frustrated I am in that game, the next day I still want to play more. So I do enjoy that. I actually do have access, and I know Code Race does too, to Heroes of the Storm.
I think it's actually out now.
Oh. Okay, well, maybe I don't then.
Cloud is definitely playing. I think Misa was playing. Well, maybe Misa had early access too, but yeah, I think it's out now, so yeah, anyone can play it now.
Oh, well,
That's pretty fun. I haven't played it since it was in alpha.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. That's another, of course, it's another MOBA. Cold Race and I played WoW on and off for many years.
So what we're getting at is it seems like RPGs are going to be a big thing for us.
Yeah, I mean, I always loved the old RPGs. I generally like turn-based more than or active time-bound more than I don't know. It just depends on the game. Because also I really love Tales of Symphonia, which is an actual action action RPG.
Really wish
Oh,
those
okay.
games would...
Heroes of the Storm is in beta.
Oh, okay.
You son of a bitch! You lied to us then. But
I think anyone can play it. I think it's open beta.
I really
Sounds
wish
like a Blizzard thing.
The Tales games would add like an online multiplayer feature, though I know that's kind of impossible given the way the game works. I think it would be cool just because I love playing that like multiplayer. Like one of the games I grew up playing was Tales of Symphonia, and the most fun we had playing that was actually playing it with like 4 people. We'd have like a night out and we'd just play the fuck out of that game for hours. We ended up being in like I think it was 3 weekends doing that. And it was magical because I ended up, at first, because I could play anyone, I was just the guy who pretty much was stuck with whoever no one else wanted to play, so I'd get stuck as like Colette and a whole bunch of girl characters. And then the one girl came out, I'm trying to remember her name here now, but she had pink hair and she used a giant axe. And
Persea.
Persea,
I don't remember
there
any
we
of the
go.
character names.
Nobody wanted to play her at first because, oh, she's a girl. I don't know what she's going to use. I used her.
She's amazing.
She was the only character I used for the rest of the game. And everybody hated me for it because I just murdered everything.
She was creepy too. Do you remember that like whole storyline where you went to like her house and like
Yes,
there was like
I
the
loved
dead
it.
person in the
I
bed?
loved her. I
That
loved her
was
so much. I love fucked up shit like that. I'm a weird person.
Speaking of games that should have online multiplayer, I just want to throw this out there real quick. Hyrule Warriors.
That needs
Yeah.
online multiplayer so we can-
No, it at least needs good local multiplayer.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The local
Forcing
multiplayer
someone.
is ridiculous.
Okay, weirdos who live next to each other. Can we focus on the online aspect?
No, I don't care about online. Online's nice too, but it'd be nice if the local you could play, both on the TV, not someone with a little tiny gamepad and the other person on the 65-inch TV.
Dude, I will play the shit out of that gamepad. It's like playing a goddamn DS.
Yeah, but
Yeah, like GP, I don't even think it has the TV hooked up to his Wii U.
But you have to understand when you have the choice. I mean, because we played Colors. How many hours of Samurai?
Oh, I don't know.
Warriors
I
do we
could
have?
check right now, but
It's
tons.
like 150. I mean, it's
Probably, yeah, at least 150, I think.
and Samurai Warriors 3, which is a Wii game, and that's split screen, and that's perfect. It's beautiful, and so like
And it has online multiplayer.
yeah, and so you get Hyrule Warriors on the more powerful system, and of course we're both pumped about it. And he gets the game, and we're playing it. Okay, multiplayer and gamepad only for one player, TV for the other. Are you kidding me?
They never were really good at getting the Warriors game multiplayer. I mean, even if you played like 2 players on one of the older games, they'd lag the shit because you were loading so many enemies at once, especially if you were in like 2
Yeah,
different
even
areas of the map.
Local multiplayer.
Yeah, it was just terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah, it's still fun.
Granted, I want to say Warriors Orochi had online multiplayer, and it worked alright.
I haven't played that.
I have, I think it's 2 or 3 or something on PS3, but I like the Warriors games a lot for solo play, mostly just because it was, hey, I have nothing to do, I really want to beat the shit out of some guys, and feel extremely overpowered. Hey look, Dynasty Warriors!
That's why you should have Perfect Dark. No, but yeah, I like Samurai Warriors single player too, but it's just not quite the same. It's more fun. Like, all right, I'll do this mission. I'll protect this person. All right, you go clear out this area. Single player, it's like, oh, I have to run around and save everyone.
Oh yeah, it's like, and I know Music Cat's watching here, and he can agree with this one on Hyrule Warriors. The one mission where you're on Death Mountain, if you could do that like multiplayer online or better locally, that would make that mission so much better because the mission is just the entire time that you're playing it, you're just like stressed because
Oh.
Isn't that the one where
It's-
you're pretty much running around to every location?
yes.
I remember that one. That one was fun.
Yeah, and so like it disappoints me because that game, like the way that those games are designed, they're designed so that it could be so much better multiplayer. And I don't know, I just don't understand why they didn't implement the online with it. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It's Nintendo, what do you want from them? Have you seen those servers? They're terrible. They're freaking terrible.
But I
Well-
mean, like you can play. I mean, but you can play Samurai Warriors 3 online when that's like how many years old? Like, it's, they have the technology, they have the ability to do it, and they just didn't. And I mean, it's still a great game. I love the game, but it could be so much more.
I got nothing, honestly. I mean, look at the way they handled Monster Hunter 3, both for the Wii U and for 3DS. 3DS does not have online capabilities. It has local multiplayer, which is fine, but it didn't have online capabilities, which really sucked because it was a game that was kind of niche in the fact that, yes, you might be able to find people in your area, but it's very, very small chance that you'll actually be together in time to, like, play together. And then you get the Wii U version, and it's like, oh yeah, we brought back the online multiplayer aspect from the original try, which was on the Wii. And it wasn't really that hard to do that. And then they made it even worse because they're like, oh, you can also connect with your 3DS. Oh, that's cool. Does that mean we can go online with that 3DS partner? No, you can't unless you have your Ethernet adapter for your Wii U, which is stupid. It's like, why did you make this the most complicated thing ever that required every little accessory you could possibly think of for the Nintendo system?
Well, that also stems from I don't understand why there's no Ethernet port on the Wii U, but
Kids don't understand what an Ethernet port is, and don't you know that the Wii U's marketed towards Wii youngins?
I mean it's you know it's sleek, it's wireless, there's no wires, but I'd rather have the wire. I mean,
Well, it takes up a lot of space. Have you seen
well-
what an Ethernet port looks like? We're just laying out. It's big.
well, that's true. That
It's
is
like
true.
2D6.
Well, I mean that is true. It does take up a lot of space.
Forget about the part on the actual board.
But
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not going to try and understand Nintendo's marketing decisions other than, and Misa's actually saying this a lot in chat right now, the fact that they want money and they will get it any way they can.
Yeah, well, if they want more money, they should make more amiibos.
Yeah, that's actually very true.
Don't get started
That
on
is-
that amiibo.
That is very true. If they would just make more amiibos, they'd just be rolling in the money from it. But
So-
I
I don't
don't.
know. I don't know why they just like, oh, we're not making this amiibo anymore.
So I actually went
Why?
to Target today to pick up Monster Hunter for you since I was behind on the times and didn't have money to buy it when it first came out. But keep in mind, this was the fourth store I'd gone to, and I hadn't seen amiibos in any of the other stores I went to. And I get to Target, and guess what? They had some amiibos.
Ooh, which ones?
They had like 10 Pikachus, 10 Zeldas, 5 DKs, and then 1 Mario. And then the rest of the display, which was 80% missing, was just like it was abysmal. I mean, you literally could not find anything but those 3. It was like, how is this a thing? It's obvious that people want them. Why can't they make more to actually put on the shelf?
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, do you hear something about Miyamoto saying they might re-release amiibos later as cards so you can still use them with the system without actually having a little statuette?
Fuck the cards. I want
Yeah,
statues.
exactly.
Those statues are
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I didn't even open most of mine. I opened one because I bought 2 of them.
I
I got 2 Bowsers, like, let's see, 2. What am I going to do 2? Oh, I can open one. All right.
I mean, heck, they're.
And a side story with that. I took one into work. Apparently, I added as a, like, it works on our readers on the building, and I add as one of my cards so I can use it to get in the building now at work.
So he enters the building by flashing Bowser.
It's my card.
Oh, did
Yeah.
you check to make sure that it isn't the same?
I didn't check yet. No,
You should probably do
probably
that.
should.
Do it.
Well, I'm not gonna get another. I'm not gonna open my second Bowser. I don't really want to get a third Bowser.
Well, do you have any others that are open, like just to make sure it's not like across the board? Well, it wouldn't be. I don't know why.
It wouldn't be.
across
There's
the
no
board.
way it would be. Well,
No, it wouldn't be.
well, the thing is, I do get 2 different card numbers depending on which reader I use it on.
Oh,
Like I forget if they just set up. They're different brands of readers. I'm not sure if they set up differently too.
So, I don't know what I was gonna say. Continue. Sorry.
but yeah, another thing about the Emu was like, yeah, they're like $13, and it's like, yeah, I mean, they don't do like a whole lot with them yet, but they're still like, it's a pretty cool like little figurine for $13. Like,
Yeah, they're really nice little figures.
yeah, I mean, I got the Link and the Zelda one. I mean,
I'm gonna
they're
be honest,
pretty cool.
After seeing them today, I'm disappointed in their quality. I saw all the pictures for them, and I thought they were really cool, and I thought they were great. And then I actually got to see them up close today, and they look like crap to me. I mean, maybe I just have really, really high standards or something, but they look like utter crap.
For $13,
It's not bad at $13.
I guess for
they're pretty
$13.
good. They're pretty good for $13. I mean, if you're comparing to like a $60, yeah, it's gonna look like crap. But I mean, for $13, yeah, I'll take that.
I'm just gonna go with I have high standards on that one. I wanted
With-
something spectacular.
With NFC.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe they don't make a lot of money on them too. I mean, that could be part of why they didn't make a ton of them.
Yeah, I wonder what the profit margin is on those.
Probably.
Yeah, it could be really low.
Yeah, considering. Let's see, what are they? The stores are probably making like 30 to 40%.
And
then-
yeah, Yeah, I guess.
Oh, if they're making less than 30, they're probably losing money.
Oh yeah, in a retail in a retail
Yeah.
market. Oh yeah, usually it's yeah. Trust me, I should know.
Yeah, we should know.
Inside information states that if they're making less than 40%, they're not. They're
You
not
smart
making
people
money.
and you're knowing things. I'm too young to know those things. I just pretend and nod my head and smile, my dorky smile.
I mean, a lot of times retail double the price of what they buy it at. The more you know.
Well, depending on which retail.
Well, yeah, it depends. Yeah,
Like
depends
country, they usually double it, but like grocery stores, since there's enough product going in and out, they can afford to get less profit on it in each one.
Yeah,
Especially depending on the item.
Yeah, so if it's like if it's something where it's high sale volume. Anyway, we're getting really off topic here, but the point being, they're making at least 30 to 40% off.
Well, the store. No, I was just getting to the point where the stores are making like 30 to 40%.
Yeah.
So then it takes it from what's the base price, like $12, $13?
I'm trying really hard not to interrupt you guys, but goddamn, this is boring.
It's about 13.
So then let's say Nintendo is making, well, probably not 100% profit, but let's say, well, yeah, they probably definitely not, because it's not like they have trouble selling in the stores. They're just buying all the ones they can make. They're probably making like 30 or 40%. So the amiibos themselves probably cost like maybe 9 something to make. And the chip inside them probably costs anywhere between like $2 to $3 maybe.
So they made around probably $6.
Probably, yeah.
So technical, so smart.
So yeah, so that little figurine which you say isn't good quality cost them $6 to make, Spath.
Well,
I'd say it's pretty good for
yourself.
$6 manufacturing.
okay,
Absolutely.
Okay.
With color.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
That's
Yeah, my
$6.
I
If you
have
look
way
closer,
too
you can
high
see like the back
standards, I
spikes are a little
understand.
kind of peeling up. I mean, it's not perfect, but it looks pretty good.
Don't forget the designer's cutting that. That $6 had to pay for the materials,
Ooh.
the factory workers.
I'm gonna be honest.
You should-
This conversation went from me ragging on a figure to me feeling like I'm being talked to like a child because I fucked up one little thing.
There are starving children in China. You finish your dinner.
No, I don't
They're
want
probably making like
peas.
pennies an hour to put amiibos in your table today.
Yeah,
Amiibos are much-
you finish your
delicious.
meal.
They're made with edible paint. Mmm,
Oh.
edible paint.
Anyway, so the topic we were discussing, we were talking about doing the whole video game thing, what we kind of like and stuff.
I
And then we
Yeah,
got-
like,
I
like
think the best way to segue from this is probably to start talking about, and I really want to talk about this because I know my video game, I don't want to say legacy, career, there we go, started way later than your guys' because obviously you guys are older than me. So my
Are we?
first game.
How old are you?
I'm only 22.
oh yeah, he's a young pup.
We're not that much older.
Anyway, I started on the PlayStation. That was my first console. My first game
Aw.
being Final Fantasy IX, which is odd since a lot of people didn't really start with RPGs. So
My apologies.
I'm interested to see.
I never played it.
I'm gonna punch both of you guys.
Nor have I. I haven't played it either, and I own it. That's the worst part.
Wait. Are you saying you've never played Final Fantasy IX?
Neither have I.
I hate both of you.
Well, but see, here's the thing, Spath. I own every numbered Final Fantasy game from 1 to 13, with the exception of 8, on purpose, and 10-2, again, on purpose, and not 13-2. But I haven't played them all, because I've played 1, I've played 2, I've played 3, I've played 4, I've played 5, I've not played 6, I've played 7, I've played 10, and I played part of 12.
Uh-huh.
But I was doing kind of an order, and then
Yeah, I can see
Okay.
there was an order going, and then you skipped 6.
well, that's because I played 7 was the first one I played.
Oh, okay.
And 10 that I also played, because that was back before. I played 7, then I played 1, then I played 10, and Tactics somewhere in there. But anyway, so the point is I was gonna finish them all. I don't want to start 1,
Old.
and 6 is my next one to do. 9 is my second to last one. 9 is before 8, and I don't even own 8 because I hate 8. I played it for 30 minutes and I hated it.
That's not the cards.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that looked weird.
Yep.
I have mixed feelings towards 8, mostly because I kind of fell out of it because one of my friends was way too obsessed with it. And so, like, he'd play it all the time. He'd constantly beat it and rebeat it, and he'd talk about how awesome he was at it. And it pissed me off, so I just grew to hate the game. And I really shouldn't, because I like the story, I like the characters. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of problems with some of the characters, especially Squall himself, but I'll put that off for another day. But I like the world, I like the idea behind the game. So I need to give it another chance at some point and like play it through on my own and not have any outside input, and maybe I'll enjoy it and it might become my new favorite. But we're getting off topic because you guys are old and you've never played my favorite Final Fantasy game, which whatever, I'm not gonna let it get to me.
Well, one quick thing, back to Final Fantasy. Meshi, how many systems do you have Final Fantasy 1 on?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question, because it's more than one. So,
I think it's double digits.
unfortunately, and the worst part about it is I don't actually have it on NES. I don't have the original.
I thought you did.
No, I played the original, but I don't have it. That was Hennessy's. So,
oh, okay.
I have it. I have it in Origins for PlayStation 1. I have it for my PSP. I have it, I think, on DS, and my old phone, which I still have somewhere, has it on that as well. And so on just Final Fantasy 1, I've spent like well over $100 on just that game.
Still less than you've spent on League.
Still less. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, not even close.
Actually, what was that? Like, what was the time span for that spending? That $100?
Well, that's interesting. You know, I don't know, because I bought Origins first, and then, I mean, it was over a course of a few years. But it's not like I didn't know where the other version was. Like, it's not like, oh, I don't know where Final Fantasy 1 is. I'll just get it for this. It was just like, oh, Final Fantasy 1 on a console I don't have it on. I'm gonna buy it. I don't know why.
Because I don't know what to say, OG. It's okay. But, yeah, with the whole League thing, you probably spent more than that in, like, a few months on League than you probably did in all those years.
I have
one game.
I have significantly stopped spending money on League. Like, I very rarely spend money on League.
Because there ain't
now.
no champs to buy.
Well, that is part of it. But I also, I don't know. I have enough skins, and I'm not like, it's not like Pokemon. I don't think I have to collect them all. So
some of them you just don't like.
That too. I mean, there are some I just don't like, and there's like, well, I already have a skin I like. Why would I buy more? So yeah, I just yeah. But yeah, and now Spath, you said we haven't played 9, which is your favorite. But my question is, 1, have you played Tactics, and 2, have you played Final Fantasy 2?
I have played Tactics, and Tactics is actually my second favorite because of the fact that it was. I don't even know what really got me about Tactics. Something about like the story and the way the characters like interacted with each other just really hit it off with me, I guess. Like I loved the camaraderie that was there, but I also loved the rivalry that was between Ramza and
Delita.
There we go.
Now,
it did take me like a couple of years to finish it because I started it out when I was so young, because I think that was like the 3rd Final Fantasy I played, so I was still in like middle school, and like I liked the tactics portion of it, but I never really played a tactics game, so it was really like hard for me to get past it. There was a few points where I got stuck for like a year, so I'd either restart the game or
a year.
Yeah, like I'd disappear. Like I just put the game down. I was like, I'm done. I'd come back after a year, and either I'd beat it right away, or I'd realize I fucked up somewhere, and I'd like put it down and bring it back. So I love the game. It just took me forever to beat it, mostly because I was young when I started and I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, which kind of makes me laugh because Final Fantasy 9 I did at a younger age and somehow beat it without any problems. I don't know.
Tactics is unforgiving. If you mess up in Tactics, it punishes you instantly. They don't. There's no leeway in that game.
No. It wasn't so much that it punished me instantly. It would punish me too far down the road for me to, like, fix it. Because I'd make one fuck up, like, way before, like, I'd put someone on the wrong class, or I'd teach them the wrong skill and then switch classes or something. And then I get to one battle where I needed that one skill, or like this one little thing would help me out, and I'd realize this battle was scripted. There's no way for me to go back and grind out more, or there's no way for me to like, switch and get something that I needed. And so I was just stuck. And that decision was made like hours ago. There was no save from back then.
I had to restart a game once because of that fight where Ramza has to 1v1. I forget his name now. I don't remember his name. It's the one like Holy Knight guy. Anyway, I had to restart because I just couldn't do it, and I had saved at a spot where you couldn't go back. Like, it just went immediately into the fight. So there was no chance of me beating him, period. So, yeah. That game is unforgiving. I ever since that point in time, when I play that game, I have 2 save files. It's going to happen to get into.
That's a lot of games.
I learned that.
Yeah, pro tip. RPGs, 2 save files.
I learned that.
Pro tip right there.
That was actually something I learned in middle school, and that was pretty nice. Because a lot of people didn't understand why, when I was writing papers, I would make 2 save files of it. I'm like, video games. Video games taught me things.
Yeah, you save like because if the game prompts you to save it in a separate file because something's happening unless it's custom robo, in which case you could.
Oh yeah, I was about to say
custom
robo.
robo.
Yeah, how many saves? Who knows? Have you played custom robo?
I played like 2 matches of it at a friend's house.
You haven't played it all.
Nope.
But yeah, the ending, like part of the end game, it's just like an hour or more of cutscenes, but they make you save like 20 times throughout the whole thing during the cutscenes. Yeah. Just so you don't have to watch that again. You want to save right now? Because we think you should save.
Just in case you needed a break.
And that just makes me think of Monster Hunter, where it's like, oh, you want to quit the game? You should probably save before you quit the game. Nah, I'm good. Hey, do you want to save before you quit the game?
Yeah. I always save before I choose to quit the game, and then it asks me, I'm like, should I save again? But I just saved, I better save again.
I don't trust the non-bed saves. Where are you spawned?
Oh yeah, I always save in bed.
So yeah, I just save it and then log
Can
off.
you save out of bed?
Say no. Well, just when they prompt you.
Oh, okay, yeah, I save there too.
I don't trust them.
Gaming EXP. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean,
I think I was asking a question.
So you were discussing. So you were saying about how your gaming career started later. So you started on the PlayStation.
Yeah. So I want to know what like started your guys' gaming career. Like, what game was it? What system was it? And like, what really got you into gaming? Like, not necessarily the first game you played, but like, what game made you feel like you want to keep gaming, you want to get more, and you want to experience what gaming was?
Colores, you want to field that first?
Let's see. Well, my first 2 systems were original NES and original Game Boy. So, I'd say probably my first game I really like into was Tetris. I play so much Tetris. I still play Tetris pretty often, but not as much as sometimes. And
like...
I guess Duck Hunt was fun. Mario. Well, yeah, like I had the cartridge with Mario and Duck Hunt.
So you're one of those like crazy Tetris maniacs that can make lines out of just about any block combination in the world?
Oh yeah, you should see me play Tetris. I spend the first like 20 minutes not clearing any line, just setting up so I can do like 6.
And that should blow my mind.
Like 5
I
Tetrises
can't
in a row.
That far ahead on Tetris. I can do it on like tactics games. I can't do it on Tetris. I don't know what it is. It fucks with my head.
Oh yeah, I love doing it on Tetris. I just can't imagine just like, oh look, I can clear a line, just clear, like just keep clearing. I don't know, that gets ridiculous. Until it's the end, it's so quick. It's just like da 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 da.
All of that crack.
I don't like just jumping to when it's really quick. I like to start really slow and just let it build and build and build, and then all of a sudden it's ridiculousness, and you didn't even notice it build up to that.
Yeah, we used to play a lot of the what's it called, the new Tetris, on N64. Is that what it was called?
Which one? You cut out there for a second.
On Nintendo 64, was it called the new Tetris? Is that what it was called?
Oh, the new Tetris. Yeah, that was fun. I was also Tetris on N64. That was fun, but it wasn't really Tetris, but it was really fun. Yeah, the new Tetris. Yeah, that was pretty good. And you can make blocks. Like if you had like a, what was it, like 4x4 block, or you got silver blocks and gold blocks, which would give you a ton more points if you cleared them out, especially all at once.
Yeah, if you did that multiplayer, then it would just rain death on the other people, I think, right?
Oh yeah, that was horrible. I also wrote my own Tetris.
Yes.
That was fun.
Sounds like the Battle Tetris I
In
played on
Java.
Facebook for like a year. That was fun. Anyway, I want to apologize for anyone watching the stream. It might have been a little laggy because I did not realize I was still screen capturing for these guys, which I really don't need to.
Oh, that's why it was so laggy. I just thought it was on my end.
Yep.
Whoops.
It looks like it's clearing up a little bit. I don't know if it'll go straight back down, but hopefully it will.
Yeah. So is that are you?
Oh, we're talking about yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Your turn.
So I started similarly on regular good old NES, Nintendo Entertainment System.
Old.
Yeah. Well, hey, actually, I have my dad still has in his basement somewhere. An old Pong system, like just not an Atari. It's literally a Pong system. I should get that from him. I don't know what I do with it, but
It might have gotten ruined in water by now, though.
no, it's on a shelf.
Oh, okay,
Fine.
on a shelf above Oz 2.
You know what? That's probably down there too. I should get that from him too. But I started on the NES, and actually I started playing, and it's odd that I kind of remember this. I actually started playing the original Super Mario Brothers when I was 3 years old. And obviously I wasn't very good at it, but I had finished the game by the time I was 5. So that just kind of started it off. I don't really know. Obviously I was too young to really know why I started doing that, but so I played that, and I actually played a lot of Dr. Mario and Tetris, because actually my parents would play it like on my Game Boy or on the NES, either one. Like my dad would play Tetris, and then like my mom would play and try to beat the score, and vice versa. So I also played some of that, and I played Dr. Mario with my mom. She played a lot, and then the other game I played a lot as a kid is actually, and I still have this game for my Nintendo, and I actually played it last year, is Little League Baseball.
Oh wow.
I used to play, like, my dad and I used to play that a lot, and yeah, that was good fun. So that's why I got started on was the NES, and then the Game Boy, and it just kind of, then I got the Sega Genesis, and I got the Super Nintendo, and then so on and so forth.
So I gotta say, for one, you were a way smarter kid than I was, because if I was trying to play Mario at 3 or 5, there was no way I would have been level 1, much less beaten the game in those 2 years. 2, I'm a little sad that I didn't have a family like yours that seemed to like actually support my gaming and play with me. My dad's an old timer, so he saw gaming and whatnot as like a I don't want to say a fad, but he didn't quite understand it, I guess. And so I never had anyone to really play with me. If I was really lucky, I got my sister to like sit down and play a game or two with me, but she was in her teen phase at that point, so she was off being, I don't know, stupid somewhere. Coming home late at night, getting in trouble, asking me to cover for her, and I being the little shit that
I know that all too well.
For her.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, funny story, there's actually so the games like my dad played with me. There's the Little League Baseball, like Tetris, and my mom played Dr. Mario. But there's one other game that my dad would play, and that was actually an arcade game. It's an old X-Men arcade game. So like we go, because we used to go camping when I was kids. We didn't, instead of taking like a family vacation, we would go camping like almost like twice a month for like a good chunk of the year. So a lot of times there are arcades at the campgrounds, and there's this X-Men arcade game that if we see it, we usually play it. And a few years ago, I was browsing the Xbox 360 marketplace, and I found it. And I was like, oh man, that is awesome. So I bought it, downloaded it, and I showed him that one time. And he was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, that's really all that ever came of it. But yeah, I mean, because my brother, he wouldn't really, other than playing, he played Grand Theft Auto Vice City, but if you know my brother, that's not at all surprising. But yeah, that's about it.
So I was just reminded of another game I liked as a child, Lemmings. I don't know if you guys ever got a chance to play that game.
I've played that a little bit, not much though.
That was like my crack as a kid. Like, I don't know what about it got me to it. I think it was because it was like the only game I got my mother into. But I think having the power of a god controlling these little lemmings, which I later found out actually did kind of try and commit suicide. And just having the ability to not only build structures but control the fate of these people and try and get as many to a safe point. That was fun. I love that game. I played that game for like hours and hours and days and years. And then I think like 3D came out and it started getting a little boring, but at that point it was also kind of cool because you could like rotate the stage, and that was not a thing you could do before. It was like, oh my god. And now I think of all the 3D games we have now, and it's like, if you don't have 3D, you're not worth my time. Or
Well,
people's time.
I can think of a lot of games that aren't 3D nowadays.
This is true. You still
Well,
have,
that's true.
have a few like 2D games that actually make it through.
Even technically, League is 2D, really.
It's
Yeah.
isometric 3D.
Top down, kind of. Yeah, but still though, it looks 3D, but it's really not on paper.
It totally.
Well, there are knock-up abilities. It counts.
See, there's a Z-axis. There's a Z-axis there.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny because back when 3D started coming out, I was like, oh, 3D. But nowadays, 2D is actually like a novelty. Like games that say they're 3D, but they're really not. But like games like where they're made to be like a side-scrolling like 2D game is like now a novelty. Same with 8-bit, like 8-bit or 16-bit games, stuff like that.
It used to be you got 2D, and that was the selling point of your game because, oh my god, this is the epitome of graphics. Now it's, oh my god, this game isn't 3D, it's 2D. It's amazing because it's 2D, because you don't have that stupid 3D getting in your way.
Can we just pause a minute and did you say epitome?
Yes, I think that was the wrong word. And I don't
Epitome?
care.
I think you mean epitome.
I think I did, and I don't care. I want to go with my wrong word selection. I don't have a dictionary in front of me right now.
but yeah, like even on Steam, like 8-bit's like a big category. There's tons of games.
Waiting for the
2D,
English major.
side scroll.
Waiting for the English major. Waiting for it.
So I mean, so that's kind of like weird, like trends. Like, why don't we take a moment to transition, like just trends in like video games and like kind of how it, how it's changed. Like, like I said, like 3D, like Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. When that came out, that was the first 3D Legend of Zelda game. And it was big, and even though, in my opinion, going from a Super Nintendo to a Nintendo 64, the graphics actually decreased, but it became three-dimensional, so it was like, oh, big, and it's still, really cool. But then, like, nowadays, like, you get into where some of these games just have incredible graphics engines, where it's just insane, and we can do so much stuff where it looks like real life, and then people now want to play the 8-bit games. Like, they want the crappy graphics because it's... And I think a lot of it just has to do with nostalgia. I mean...
Well, it's...
It
depends on who you talk to. Some of it do it for the nostalgia, and I think some of it still do it not so much because they feel like the graphics bring them back, but more of or I guess the way they think about it is what I should say, is when they put it in a graphic style like that, they're not so focused on the graphics like the newer games are. Like, and I'm sure I'll bring this up later because it is, The Order 1886, I think is the newest game, where they're focused so much on the graphics that there's no real like meat to the game, and that's what people are getting on now with looking at 8-bit or just 2D games in general, is they feel like, oh, they're not focused on the graphics because they already have it set in stone that they're using an older graphic system, so they're more focused on the gameplay and the story. And in a sense they're right, because yes, people want to focus more on the story at that point, but a lot of people need to understand that just because they have that older graphics engine does not mean that they're actually going to focus on the story or the gameplay as much as they think they're going to. Because the way... what do I want to say? I'm going to shut up for a second because I need to think. Meshi, take it away!
I just saw the Chinko's thing, and that just blows me away.
What?
Someone said that apparently Jenko's, remember the old Gene company, JNCO?
Oh yeah.
Apparently they're making a comeback.
Okay.
Why? I don't know.
Why
Did
not?
some other gene company buy them, and now they're just selling them at Costco, so people are going to buy them, and I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, Huffington Post. Okay, you lost me at Huffington Post.
Oh, well.
Huffington.
Okay.
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 Yeah.
I'm okay. I don't even want to wrap my head around that if that is real, though, because that's just...
Nothing that matters, really, I guess.
No, it really doesn't, but...
especially not in like high school.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like that whole South Pole and stuff like that. But yeah, like, and I think Spath, you have a good point that like it does. Some people well, if, the graphics, they do focus on it, like that order game, which they're saying that there's like 5 hours of gameplay in that, and
it's a little mixed reviews. I'm hearing some saying 5, or at least that's what the original report was, and some reviews are saying they can put 7, 8 hours in without like specifically like hunting for everything. But that's still a pretty short game, especially for what people will say they used to play old games. They'd be like 12 hours at least, if not up to like 20.
Well, there's a Penny Arcade. Most recent Penny Arcade is actually literally about that. Like if you look it up quick, but it's them saying like, oh, this guy says you can play this game in 5 hours, and they're like, yeah, maybe if you play it in the most annoying way possible and just do what you need to do to advance the story.
But you gotta remember,
and if you were the person who made the game and made all the puzzles. But yeah, I guess some people liked it and like to see how quickly they can beat the game, but going by someone like a speedrunner saying Portal's a 2-minute game doesn't count.
See, speedrunners are different. They use like pretty much every trick in the book.
Yeah,
they can
but
think
still,
of
but still, people who just like try to get through. Well, okay, actually, like GP, just trying to get through games as quick as possible without doing any side story.
And don't get me wrong.
I know a lot of people just don't play like that.
Don't get me wrong, side story is important, and I like side story in my games, but I also want the main story to have a lot more in-depth to it. I don't like... I know this is a trend now because of achievements and all that, but I don't like a whole lot of collectibles in a game. I don't feel like that actually adds anything to a game. So when somebody tells me that a game is 12 hours because they got all the collectibles, they got all the achievements, whatnot, I don't look at it as a 12-hour game. That's not a 12-hour game to me. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to finish the game as fast as possible. That's not my goal. But my main goal in playing a game is almost always like the main story and then maybe a little bit of side story. So if you're adding like 2-3 hours onto a game just because of collecting collectibles, which I will probably never look at because I really don't give a shit about this little tiny doll in this little tiny dark ass fucking corner that doesn't give me anything for the fucking game. That's not what I want. I want substance to a game. I want things like I played a lot of Elder Scrolls growing up as well. I love that open exploration where, yes, I'm still technically following the main story and I'm trying to progress that, but I'm also getting sidetracked not because I am specifically looking for a collectible, but because, ooh, I found a cave. Ooh, I found a monster leading me this way and I decided to kill his whole clan or something. I don't want collectibles in a game. I really, really don't. The only collectibles I ever liked in a game, and I'm going to hate saying this because I hate admitting that I really liked shooters growing up, was the skulls in Halo. And that's because those skulls gave me something outside the game to look at that wasn't just like maybe a tiny like joke thing. It was...
Did they mail you the skulls?
Well,
Apparently.
what I'm saying is they were extras to add onto the game. Like, they made the difficulty of the game harder if I wanted. So finding those scrolls wasn't just a, oh, I'm getting the collectibles. It was, oh, this I can use for a later playthrough to make the game more enjoyable because, oh, now I don't have my radar. Oh, I now don't have as much ammo as I used to. And I enjoyed that. Collectibles now are, here's a doll. It's here. It looks cute. Don't you want to collect them all? No. I'm not a Pokemon master. It's not what I'm doing. I'm shooting guys in the head.
Spath, I was just gonna say, you play Pokemon, and you're talking about that one and collect things. I mean,
you cannot say I play Pokemon. I purchased, was it X? And I beat the game and then put it down. Okay? That's literally what I did. And the only way I made that enjoyable is by doing a Nuzlocke challenge. I had to basically make it so whenever something died, it died. Yeah. And I got so much shit for doing that. Like, anyone I talked to that was my friend who found out I was doing a Nuzlocke challenge just, like, completely disowned me. They were like, why aren't you into Pokemon? And I'm like, it's not my game. I don't see the strategy you see. I know that there's strategy in it. I know there's all these mechanics. Not my thing.
It's really just an RPG with just a ton of characters.
It really is.
An RPG with, if you really get in depth into it, it has a lot of strategy because... there is a formula for the battles.
Well, if like Final Fantasy Tactics had 300-something characters, it would have a lot of strategy too.
Well, technically, you can do that because everyone's expendable and you can just buy new people. So you can technically do that in tactics.
What's that Fred Sam's Pokemon like? No,
Everyone's
it's not. Like,
expendable, bitch.
let's back to the collectibles. Some games do have stupid collectibles like Tomb Raider, like collecting all the little like GPS caches and little old clay pots and things. They're kind of fun. Like, oh, you can see it. Ooh, there's little inscriptions. Whatever. It's kind of weird. Goes towards the completion percent. Whatever. But I beat like the main story. I got a lot of collectibles, and I was like, I'll go back and finish it. That's really fun. Now I have all the things. And there's collectibles that go towards you, like being able to unlock more things, like weapons and upgrades, things like that. But then there's ones that don't do anything, and there's the ones that like, I don't know if I really feel like playing the game again just to get those.
That's the same with like Grand Theft Auto. Like, I have no desire to find this special cache stuff because it doesn't do anything for you, and it's not like it's something like, oh, you have to figure out this challenge and like find it behind this puzzle. No, it's like, oh, you had to like go on top of this building and go behind this parked car, and it was at
the
rear window
behind that parked car. No, not at all. But here you go.
No, not the least bit. I mean, don't get me wrong. Grand Theft Auto are still fun games, and you can just play run. And it's kind of cool to exploring, and you just find while exploring. But like, if you're going for the set goal of collecting everything, that doesn't add gameplay to me. That just adds like unnecessary. Like, I'm gonna make you go to this spot just because you had to.
And that's pretty much what I don't like about collectibles, because that's what I feel like a lot of collectibles are now. Yes, some of them are unlocks. That's great, but since you mentioned Grand Theft Auto, did you guys play San Andreas?
A little bit.
No.
The collectible in San Andreas was pearls, if I remember correctly, from oysters, which were in the most back-ass alleys you could ever think of. Sometimes just at the bottom of dark-ass pools that you would never think to go to. And guess what? You got nothing for them, and there was about 100 of them.
Now, collectibles can be done right.
Like most Zelda games do collectibles very well. Pieces of heart, rupees, I guess. That was more currency than collectible, I guess.
That was a reward system.
Or gold Skulltulas.
Yeah, see, like, Legend of Zelda does it well. Another example is a game we actually spoke of again. And see, I bring up this game often. In fact, I had an email address based on this game. It exists. I don't ever check it. But Tales of Symphonia, no, it still exists.
Wait, what was
it? Still exists. Titles.
For your collection titles. Well, you can do that in WoW too, but that's useful. Didn't actually do things?
Yes. When you leveled up your stats, it changed your stats while you were leveling.
Yep.
And every time I think about playing a game, or every time I did restart that game, because I played it multiple times, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to get that one title for Lloyd. And the one title for Lloyd you had to give by only using the starting weapons until halfway through the game. You have to use the wooden swords until it's like until you go to the second world. And I'm like, I'm going to do it this time. And I go in full force, like, I'm going to do it, and I go through, and the instant I get the first upgrade sword, I go, but that's so much better! And I switch.
Oh,
every time.
I remember actually going for that title once.
But that would be him.
I know it would, but... And then you can in the second playthrough, if you have enough points, and you can keep your titles, so I can have it on another playthrough. But every time I get those swords, I'm like, but these are made of wood, and those are made of steel.
I remember going for that title at one point, and I think it was 2 bosses before I would have gotten it that I finally quit, and I put him away. And I went to check the guide to see how close I was, and I realized I was 2 bosses away, like literally maybe like 20 minutes of gameplay, and I was like, son of a fucking bitch.
That one boss fight where you have to fight Kratos, and you can't actually win it. Okay, the game's old enough that there are no spoilers. All right, spoiler rules apply. However, I have yet to finish. However, I'm still only halfway through Bat and Kratos. Nobody spoil that for me.
Which one?
The first. The actual first one. Not the first made chronologically.
Okay.
Okay. Um, but that fight with Kratos, that's like you can't win it. I didn't realize you couldn't win it. I burned every single healing item I had, and then like I was like, "Wow, I'm still losing this fight." And then like I died, and then oh, that's not a game over screen. The game is continuing. I'm gonna reset now because I just burned every single healing item I had.
You know how much I hate those fights. I hate it. Like, I love them story-wise, but when I'm doing them, I'm so gun-ho on, like, beating the shit out of whatever I'm fighting, that there were a couple games where I didn't realize they were, like, they were fights you were supposed to lose. And so, like, the instant I lost, I would just reset the system. And wouldn't be until, like, the 10th time or so where I'd actually let whatever cutscene, like, played out, because I thought, oh, it's just gonna be game over, whatever, I'm done for the night. And it'd play out, and it's like, the story's continue. What's going on here? I just spent, like, 2 hours on this fight, damn it! Don't do this to me!
Or that moment when your character gets killed off from the game forever, that's always a...
Well, I like Doom fights where they kind of tell you, but they don't really tell you. Like you say, you can't use healing items in this fight. Oh, okay.
Okay. That always feels a little railsy, but I think that they're saving it from people like us who would pop all the items. Oh yeah, I'll just pop this red essence and this Carrot Cola. I don't care. Yeah, why not?
I've never used a Carrot Cola. I collected so many. I was like, oh, I'm gonna need these at the end. I'm gonna need these at the end. That was easy.
Yeah. Oh, if you have like 4 red essences and you get freebies, you don't ever need healing items in that game.
Yeah.
Oh
well, if you have Peach with Laser Shell, you don't need healing items.
Yeah, you really don't. They just make it easier, but you don't really need them.
Yeah.
I just thought of another scenario. Have you guys ever had like one of those moments where you get something like super awesome and it tells you can only use it like maybe, let's say like 4 or 5 times during the game or something like that, and you decide to save it and save it and save it. I think I saw a comic for this actually recently.
Yes, yeah, I did too.
I saw a comic about that a while ago. I saw an awkward zombie about that.
I don't know. If
I'm sure there's a lot of them out there.
I'm just gonna save it. I don't need it for this one. I don't need it for this one. I think it's the last boss. The title screen isn't rolling yet. Credits aren't coming through.
They're the credits.
Son of a bitch.
Why? Wait, there's something after the credits? Nope.
Yeah.
No, this is the title screen. It didn't even let me save.
I'm trying to think if there's any good examples. Well, actually, not items, but I am really bad at this in a lot of RPGs, specifically the old Final Fantasy games. Not using spells because I don't want to use the mana /MP /spells per day.
Yeah.
Really bad at that. Like
2 hours in Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy 1, I think I was the worst at that because, except for, the White Mage heals, oh yeah, use them, but then, because you have to. Let's be real. If you're not healing in Final Fantasy 1, you're not getting through any dungeon. But then, Black Mage, oh, I'm not going to use my spells because what if I need them for the boss? Then you get to the boss and it's oh, well, the fighter hitting it with the sword is doing way more damage than the spells, which I should have been used to clear out the AoE trash mobs. Oh, well.
I remember one of the Final Fantasy games, I want to say, I think it was on the final boss or something. Up until that point, magic was almost completely useless. But the second you got on the final boss, you had to use magic on it. But most people wouldn't because, well, they hadn't leveled up magic at all because it was pretty useless up until that point. And so there was a few people I remember getting really stuck on this boss because they couldn't kill it because you had to use magic, and it's I don't have any magic level to use on it. I don't know what to do. Oh my god, I can't beat this game. I don't know.
Which game are you talking about?
I don't know. I just
Final Fantasy 2?
It could have been 2. It probably was 2.
Because there's a trick to that, and that's using the blood sword on Final Fantasy 2. But
blood sword.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would do because in 2 you actually have to level your stuff by using it. It was a very weird system. There weren't levels, there wasn't XP. So basically, if your character took damage in a fight, it had a chance their max HP would go up, and a chance their stamina would go up. And then, if you swung a weapon, you have a chance that the skill of that weapon would go up, and your strength would go up, and et cetera, et cetera. Same with casting spells. So one cheap trick I found is any spell in a game, you can make area of effect, which is nice. but it also, of course, reduces its power significantly. But one thing you could do is you could do AoE spells on your party, like cast Blizzard, like on your party. It would level up your spell. It would give you a chance to get more MP, chance to get intelligence, and it would give everyone in your party a chance to get HP, chance to get endurance, chance to get magic defense, like all that. So you sit there and you go into a fight and you just spam spells on your party, just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and it'll do like 7 damage. Like you're not killing them.
I'm just trying to imagine this through the character's eyes. Oh my god, why are you casting magic on us?
Why are we on fire? Oh, it didn't really hurt. But
I have more
I'm
help
helping
now.
you.
But the annoying thing that I found out in that game, and I really enjoyed that game because the level system was weird, but I liked it because it was so different, and the story was kind of, I mean, it was an old game, so it wasn't much story in it. But what sucked is that you would get these better spells later on. So like eventually, I found Ultima, and I found Flare, and I found Holy. And I was like, sweet. Like, you actually had to do a quest to get Ultima. I was like, sweet, I have these awesome spells, right? And to cast a spell, the mana cost, the MP cost was always the same as the level. So a level 1 spell cost 1 mana. Fantastic. Except the fact that even level 1 Ultima sucks dick. Horribly.
Here's my ultimate spell.
Like, I'd be like, oh, okay, so I'll cast, like, oh, Fire 7, and it's like, oh, it did, like, 400 damage. Alright, Ultima 1, 50. Oh. Why do I have this spell? What's the point of this?
Because it's the best. It's the best spell ever, man.
But it's not. I spent so much time leveling up Holy, Ultima, and Flare. I mean, I spent spamming it. I got up to, like, 7 or something like that, or 6, and it's still, like... so I'd cast it and it might do 800 damage, but then I would auto attack someone and do 8,000. So what was the point of like balance issues were very much prevalent in that amongst other things. But collectibles and game duration.
But another one with kind of weird spells things was Glory of Heracles. Everyone had so many spells. And not just like damaging spells, but buffing spells, debuffing spells. And each one, like even like normal attacks, like non-spells, but like skill attacks. Had a little, well, not like skill attack, but like not like magic, but like let's say like ninja moves or something, things like that, like physical attacks, but not like magic. Each one had their own little like mini quick time event. They were kind of fun, and each one was a little different. Some were really easy, some were kind of a pain. And you could do that, like get double damage depending on how well you performed on the quick time event.
And what game was this?
Or you just not do it entirely. Glory of Heracles.
I'd never heard of that.
It's on DS, I think, or it must be on DS because you did it with the touchscreen. All the quick time events.
I don't really like quick time
But
events,
there's so many. Well, it wasn't so much like press A to stay alive.
It was more like draw symbols or something on the touchpad.
It was like draw symbols, like match up things, like draw a line between something, like stop it at the right time.
That I kind of like. I mean,
things like that. Yeah, that was kind of funny. They were like mini games.
Like if you played.
But you didn't have to do it at all though. You could just say, like, ask you like, do you want to? I forget what. So do you want to be heroic? And you could do like and then you do a little mini game, and you could do tons more damage. Or if you're really bad, I think you did less damage.
So it was kind of like the critical hits in Final Fantasy VIII, where you kind of had to time the R1 button. At least with Squall, I think. But I like things like that where you don't necessarily have to do them, but they add something to it. Like I think one of the Castlevania games for the DS, you had to draw like magic symbols to use your powers. And I thought that was always cool because they gave you this little symbol, and you had to be a little artist and be like, "Ooh, here's there, make a symbol."
Nice.
Now fireball, bitch.
But another thing I was getting at with Glory of Heracles, there's so many that didn't do damage that just like increased how much you did, or it decreased how much they did, or like increased their weaknesses or your resistances, different things. But so many times they're just better off just attacking. Like, I could spend all day debuffing everyone and buffing my team. Let's just attack. Oh, look, they died.
Well, how about we go into the next topic of this then? How about balancing? Because I feel like this is something that they hire. There are people whose jobs are to try to balance things, and we can talk about games that are balanced and aren't balanced. And a lot of it is I find that so many times, with the exception of MMOs, and like MOBAs, for the most part, any kind of like single player or even just like little multiplayer RPGs, buffing and debuffing is either insanely powerful or not worth doing.
Yeah, like either required or a waste entirely.
I think that comes from it's really hard to test like everything that a player is going to think of, because yeah, we can think of, oh, if they had tested longer or tested better, they would know that this would happen. But if you look at the way players think, they are really, really ingenuitive. I mean, some of the glitches they find in like online games that have to be patched like day one because, oh my god, we never thought that this was possible because we never thought if we jumped at this one exact point, did a bunny hop over this rock and then did the hokey pokey, that they'd somehow glitch up top the map and defeat the strongest monster in the game.
Yeah.
The fact
Do you
that
remember
A lot of it is time. There's not enough time to test it, and even if they QA did find the bug, devs just like, we're not fixing it. It's too late. Or yeah, that's too much of a pain. We're either gonna take out the level or release it as is.
Or you get a thing like, we can't recreate it. How the hell did you do it?
Yeah.
Spath, do you remember the Riven Zonius glitch? I want to know why someone found that.
I don't remember which one that was.
Well, I don't remember exactly what it did, but like, why would you do that? Like, there's no reason to build an item on that champion, but someone did for some reason, and there was a glitch with it, and they found it and fixed it. And I was just like, I remember reading the patch notes going, who found that and why did they find it? Like,
I don't know. I mean, you got glitches like that, and you got things like there was the old grab glitch in League of Legends, where if you use a champion like Blitzcrank who can grab enemies, and yet you did the return to base spell at the same time, you could actually pull enemies all the way to your base, which was in no way intentional because you were going halfway across the motherfucking map. And so they had, I think it was for like a good week before they finally patched it, but they had people on Blitzcrank pulling entire teams into the fountain and instantly killing them, like before jungle even spawned.
Oh, Darius did that, yeah.
Oh,
Yep, Darius did, that's who it was. It was Darius.
Yeah, he teleported onto a ward in the fountain and did the grab and pulled the entire team at level 1 into the fountain and killed them all.
And it's like, how do people think to do this? Like, what made you think, oh, if I teleport at this time, maybe something cool will happen? Like, how? How do people find these things?
Well, we could just talk all day about League glitches. One of my favorite League glitch was literally in the patch notes. All it said was, Rumble's Q now deals the same amount of damage on purple side as it does on blue side.
Yes.
And I just went,
That's a good one.
yeah, I was like, what line of code made it do less damage on one of the sides? Like,
I mean,
what?
I could see it making sense if, like, maybe, like, somehow the angle of trajectory of your shot somehow made, like, changed how much damage it did. Like, maybe it thought you were shooting straight up instead of shooting, like, straight out in front of you, and so the harpoon just went up and then straight back down or something. But how?
Yeah, just depending which team you're on. Like, yeah.
That's like going into a
I'm sure
shooter game.
Nardan introduced a ton of bugs with the wall jumping.
Incredibly, there hasn't been, Gnar hasn't had any bugs that I can recall hearing. I mean, Jarvan still has a ton. There are just champions that will always have bugs. Jarvan will always have bugs. He just always will. Anivia will probably always have bugs.
I think that's one of the reasons why they remake like champions or characters like completely from scratch. It's not because, oh, they need to be changed because they're not good. No, it's because they realize that there's these bugs that they literally cannot fix because they were like original champions. The code's like spaghetti and you have no idea what's going on. And so there's no way of fixing them because they can still somehow walk through this fucking wall or something.
Jarvan will never be reworked, even though he will be one of the buggiest champions in the game always.
Because he's Dogmaster Jarvan.
Because his kit is just so good. Like, the kit is good. They can't rework him. People would be in an uproar.
They can do it again.
But I mean, but League of Legends is a perfect example of balancing because at the current point, like I said, I'm playing a good amount of League. At the current point, the game is fairly balanced. There are some champions who are just too powerful, need toned down. But they do a good job of balancing overall. The only issue is that the meta of the game changes constantly. And basically what happens is every time there's a new meta, there's like 120 champions or something like that, roughly. I'll just say 120 to make it easy. Of those 120 champions,
You earn most of them.
all of them.
Oh, you do have all of them?
Yeah, well, a lot of them I got with IP just for playing.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So of those 120 champions, maybe half of them, and that's being generous, would be considered viable champions. So you already cut your champ pool right in half. So there's 60 viable champions. Of the 60 who are not viable, probably like 40 of them would be like, well, you could play it and it might not make people happy, but you could play it. But then the other like 20, like if you pick them, you're pretty much telling your team I'm going to lose. At this current state, it's not that bad though. You can actually pick any champion on the table and have a chance of winning. So I think right now the game is at its most balanced it's been in a very long time.
And yet they still won't let me play Teemo.
Oh. I only play Teemo.
Well, that's Teemo doesn't fit in a meta, but he's not a bad champion. Kind of.
But
He's a perfect champion. It's just fine.
Teemo does one thing and one thing only, and he is a lane bully, and he does that really well. Okay? Teemo is a very good lane bully in most situations, and so he can do that well, so he's fine. But like Ashe, for instance, is an AD carry, and she is considered like probably the weakest AD carry. Can she still do it? Yes. But she's not useless. She fits into a certain team comp. And this is where the balancing comes in. It's not necessarily that some champions are good or not. It's that some champions work well with others and not well or work well against certain other champions. So like with Ashe, like in lane, if you put Ashe, like if you just look at the AD carries, you know, like, oh, Ashe versus Graves, who will win? Graves. Ashe versus Jinx, who will win? Jinx. Ashe versus Lucian. You know, and if you look, Ashe versus Varus, I don't know, probably Varus. But so if you look at it, it's like, well, then why would you ever pick Ashe? Well, because she fits in very well certain team comps. She's very good at like a pick comp where you can just pick someone off because of her ultimate. High CC comps, stuff like that. She works very well, or like kiting, poking. She works well in that. And so it's like, okay, cool. She has a purpose. So even though she's considered the weakest ADC, she's still balanced in the game because she can still be played in the game successfully. And so I think Riot has done a very good job at that. While, yeah, some champions, like right now, Nidalee is really overpowered and Jarvan's really overpowered, that could easily be fixed by just toning their numbers back. Done. You don't have to sit there and rework them. Like, oh, okay, so Nidalee's execute ability is too strong. We're going to lower the percentage bonus it gets when you're low, or we're going to lower the base value and increase the ratios you have to build into it, do damage. You know, easy peasy. They can easily do that. And I think that is one thing. It's a small company, and this is like the only game that I know of that they even have. I think literally League of Legends is the only thing they have. And they've done a good job. But then you have like some other games where it's just like we were talking about Magic and like the old Final Fantasy games where it's like, why would I ever use a Black Mage? Because I could just take another fighter and do more damage and be tankier.
Well, since
so it's kind of like
finally starting to get back to our original topic, I'm going to try and pull away from League for a second just because I do want to save League as a topic for another time. I do want a podcast where we focus on League, but I want to pull back to our adjustments and glitches conversation and bring it back to more of when it comes to games that do constantly adjust their games, whether it be an MMO or one of the newer games where they just have the ability to the online patch things. How do you like patches done? Do you like huge chunks done at a time, or do you like the small tweaks like Riot's doing now? Where they tweak small numbers and slowly tweak either up or down? Or would you rather have it where they completely remove large chunks of the game or put in large chunks of the game because they feel like drastic changes need to be made?
Oh, both are necessary sometimes. Like if they come out with a big one, they can't necessarily wait until the next big release to fix little things they didn't realize were broken or they didn't have time to fix. Like Terraria has just does like big releases kind of sporadically. Like there's another big release coming up. They don't even have a release date for it yet, but there's a lot of huge improvements and tons of big new features. But they haven't done anything well. But they've had hot fixes like for holidays and things like that. But then there's WoW has new little things every week.
Yeah, I think it definitely does depend, and it depends on the type of game. Like for a game like League, like I think you need those small patches because a lot of times what they're patching is like a small issue, like oh this needs nerfed or this needs buffed. That doing that, changing on the fly is really nice. But like with an MMO, yeah, small patch here and there, just add something small or cool or like holiday festive stuff. Yeah, that's cool, but you still need those big ones because like especially in an MMO, like if you get to endgame, you run out of endgame content.
Yeah.
You need something. Like, you need the big patches. But as for it's like offline games, like single player or just like like normal games, like I actually find patches annoy me more than anything on those. Like,
yeah,
unless they're necessary, like unless they're actually like adding, oh hey, we added all this cool new content. But like that doesn't really generally happen with those. It's usually just like, oh, some weird like thing to fix the online game. I don't even play the online version. Like
like Mario Kart on DS. There's some track you could jump over something to skip a huge chunk. So they had an update for that, and then there's even a big thing. Like every time you try to play the game or go in the shop and say, if you don't get this update, you cannot play this online.
Cannot play. So I'm gonna add.
Yeah, it was so broken.
now,
But I never play online, so it's just like, oh, I don't care.
When
Yeah,
you
so-
see these smaller tweaks and whatnot, do you guys ever feel like they're just kind of putting it there to make it seem like they've been doing something in their spare time, or do you actually think these changes were needed? Like I've seen some very very small like percentage tweaks in League or even in Final Fantasy where yeah you can kind of notice it, but it doesn't feel like it's doing anything, and then like 1 or 2 updates later they tweak it basically right back down to where it was before. So, do you think they're actually trying to tweak it at that point, or is it just kind of like a ruse to be like, hey guys, we were totally working on something, we didn't forget about you at all?
That's probably a lot of it just reacting to people's feedback, like, oh, this is so broken, lock's fixed now. So they just a little bit, and they're like, no, this is much worse, okay, I'll fix it back, or try something else. Or it's just to make it interesting, like, ooh, if we do this, it'll change the gameplay a little bit. They'll use different strategies. It might not be better, it might not be worse, but at least maybe they can play it differently.
Does this have you worried that maybe they're not testing internally very well, and they're kind of using?
Well, a lot of
more
it
as
is
their
they
guinea
can't
pigs?
predict how. Some of it is they can't predict how people are going to use it, or they just want to make it more interesting. So just change moves a little bit.
I just want to throw this out there. You said listening to the feedback of players that I assume you weren't talking about 11.
No, not 11. 11
Yeah.
is not the example I was using.
Hey now,
Yeah.
they're finally listening to us a little bit about 12 years later.
12 years later.
Yeah, unless Japanese midnight is also urine midnight, they don't care what you're saying.
Exactly. They don't listen. But yeah, I agree. Like sometimes, like there's small tweaks, and even if they may reverse, it might be a lot like you said, Lox OP, please nerf, and a lot is definitely. I think you see more of that in PvP environments. Just because, like in a PvE environment, it's like, oh wow, this warlock's doing more damage than my mage. It's like, well, okay, like we'll test it out. It could be a variety of factors, gear stuff. We'll test it out. We'll see. Maybe it's a little powerful. But when it comes to like a PvP aspect, like. And it's like, okay, this is like stupid. Like I'm on this like high burst, mage, and I have like all this good gear, and this like shitty geared warlock comes in and throws a couple dots on me, and I die. Like, then they're like, okay, well, I think that's where the bounces come out a lot more because it's frustrating, and especially in a PvP environment because it's always so competitive. Like even, not even necessarily like a professional or competitive base. People get very competitive in it, and then people will, of course, abuse the flavor of the month.
Yeah.
and then it becomes a problem because then it's like, oh, well, every time I queue for PvP, I'm not on my warlock, and they kick me out of the party, or so, and which is, God, that's rampant days of old WoW, but kick out party constantly. But so yeah,
Wow.
I think a lot of the hot kind of like in Counter-Strike, which doesn't ever get patched much that I know of. There's add skins for guns now, which is a sad day in Counter-Strike life. But stuff like that, like they'll tweak things, damage on guns and stuff, and it's because it's all PvP, so they kind of have to make it as balanced as they can, while still keeping in skill caps and just how guns are supposed to function, all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Because especially also, again, in the PvP scenario, when something's like a little stronger than others, the people who are like really good at the game, it kind of makes the people who are really good get further ahead than the people who aren't as good at them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the cap grows, and that is really bad for the community. And then people will stop playing the game because it's extremely frustrating. We're like, oh, I'm gonna play. I'm a casual player. I'm gonna play some Counter-Strike, and I'm like, oh, I'm all excited. I want to kill some people in Counter-Strike. And you fire up the game, you get into the server, and you spawn. And 3 seconds after you turn out your spawn, you die every round.
So
It's
much
not fun.
So
Or
much
you,
fun.
you go into server and you buy let's say Mac 10. Like, what are you doing with that? That's not allowed. It's too broken. Banned.
Yeah, or it's too shitty, and then people are just
Yeah.
like ridiculing you, and yeah. So I mean, I kind of understand like small patches in a PvP environment. I'm fully okay with quick fixes and stuff like that. But I think in a non-PvP environment, or changes like in WoW that don't affect PvP stuff and isn't actually adding content, they don't have to keep rolling them out all the time.
Okay.
Of course, WoW does it pretty well, though. You can download them in the background, but that's.
But the download time is hardly the annoying part sometimes. Sometimes it's just like if it's a single player thing or a thing where I'm not playing with other people, and they change something, it's like, this worked just fine the way it was. Now I can't do that. Oh.
Yeah. Yes. So I guess for me, it really just depends on the game.
So obviously you prefer the smaller changes in the PvP environment. Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
It's that little table.
I have a little.
I don't know, but I want it.
Uh,
Oh, did you see those videos of the guy making like the miniature food? That little table reminded me of that.
oh yeah. The funny thing is, this table is actually was advertised as a table I can flip. Like whenever I get mad.
Oh.
So it's a little keychain thing, I
boy.
can carry it around. So whenever I get mad, I can just pull it out and just flip. I have actually used it a couple times.
That's great.
I feel like I was gonna go somewhere with all
That
this,
is
I got nothing.
amazing. Wow.
Stupid laughing and awkward conversations. This is what
Well,
you
it's
came here
because
for, folks.
Mesh and I are both watching you streaming, and we're just now seeing you holding up the table.
Yeah. So we're behind.
Yeah.
You are behind. I wish I could show you guys in real time, but Skype's stupid and stuff and things.
Yeah,
But
aw.
I wanted to go somewhere with this conversation. I totally forgot where I was going with it, and I feel really bad for that.
That's all right.
Take it away, folks.
All right. So while we just we have another topic here. Or actually, we've been going for almost an hour and a half. I mean, we could wrap it up too.
Yeah, I
mean-
could stop it at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. So we got 5 minutes. So
Yeah, I'm cool with that because I am getting a little cold and I kind of want to put pants back on. So.
absolutely.
Oh.
Well, I turned the
said I
heat
was-
up.
I
man.
said I was going to the stream without pants, so I did the stream without pants, and it's a little.
We said that
cold.
before the stream. The people watching didn't need to know that. We'll have to edit that out then in post.
No, they need to know because they need to know that I honor my
His
saying
own
that I
rules.
yeah, I said that for a good stream you had to have your pants off, so I'm honoring that rule now. My pants are off. I'm hoping Meshi's pants are off. I don't care if Cold Rice's pants are off, but I'd love him to join us.
I'm just wearing shorts.
Yeah, you're not good enough.
I wear
for this.
shorts. I wear shorts and t-shirt year round.
You're weird. I can't wear
just
shorts.
live
I
at
can't, I
home.
can't do it.
Can't do it.
Oh, I love shorts, but it's just too damn cold for that right now. So
I'm a white man with very pale legs, so shorts don't happen.
Well, you know, if you wore shorts more often, you want to have pale
Yeah,
legs.
you'd get
I
an
don't go
actual
outside,
tan.
It's gonna happen either way.
Yeah. Just show off your pastiness and let the judges decide.
If I do that, I'm gonna go around like flaunting it, just showing off my ass, like, hey guys, how do you like this? Ah, it's perfect, isn't it? Anyway.
Alright, so I guess we should conclude here. So, this is week 2 of our our comfy. He is very dry. So this is week 2 of our podcasting, and I think we did a little bit better. We still
a little more
definitely-
on topic, somewhat. Kind of
Yeah.
flirted one to another.
I mean, we still definitely floated from topics one to another, and we did drone on a long time about certain things, which probably bored some people. Like when I really went on about League for a while.
We'll get there.
I don't remember hearing anything about the league. I kind of blanked.
Yeah, exactly. That's my
Wow.
point.
I try to entertain the audience with my face, my beautiful face.
See, that's why we need the webcam aspects. Why I
Yeah,
can't.
should we all have webcams next time?
No.
I'm down for it, but I don't think Meshi's ever gonna do it because he's a stubborn son of a bitch.
Oh.
I don't
Even
own a
though-
webcam.
Even though I'm
I
gonna
don't
say
want
this,
to.
I'm gonna call you out right now. I'm gonna say that you don't even have a beard until I actually see it for myself.
Cold Rice, can you confirm?
I can confirm he does have beard.
I
There
don't
we go.
know.
Thank you.
Picks or it didn't happen. Picks or
So
it didn't
does
happen.
Cold Rice. That's 2 beards right there.
Picks
Yeah.
or it didn't happen.
I don't think necessary.
It happened.
It
He
happened.
could send him some beard.
I could snip it off the beard and send it to you.
If I end up with
Part of it.
a chunk of beard hair in the mail in like the next month, I don't know.
Call
how
the
I'm gonna
police.
react. But yeah, let's get to calling it here. So, Cold
Hey,
Rice, I want to thank you for coming out. That's
Hey,
Yes.
thanks for having me. That was fun.
Yeah, thank you for the guests, and like we said, we're gonna entertain that idea of the weekly video game playing on different night. Probably not every night, because just let's be real.
Yeah, not hardly every night, but just like, yeah, whatever. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, something could be fun.
Yeah, I mean, we could play games, and one of us could like commentate, or both be playing, or whatever. So just if anyone has any suggestions or any ideas for that, or feedback, yay, nay, like, oh no, you guys suck, I don't want to listen to that, or yes, it'd be hilarious to watch you fail in games, whatever. That would be good. Just let us know.
And we'll get that out to you eventually. Maybe. We'll
Yeah.
think about it.
Don't expect magic.
Yeah, we'll play some H1Z1. Just got that yesterday.
Yeah, there you go.
There's no H1Z1. What is this madness with these pay-to-win games?
Oh, you don't have to pay to win.
It's totally pay-to-win. Don't lie to me.
I'm assuming it's like DayZ, but less marathon running.
No, it's just as much marathon running, but it's less buggy. And the running works a little better.
Anyway, we're told.
And you can craft.
So,
Yeah, I guess we
goodbye,
should end
everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching the Spath and Meshi podcast.
Should we go out in the song?
Go for it. I got music playing, so.
Well,
Sing us a song. Do it.
no, I meant you.
The song
I
of
meant
your
you want to
people.
play the song again.
Nope. You
'cause,
just start singing for me right now. This will be our outro. It's really awkward for everyone until you start singing.
Okay.
Sing I ran.
I wake up in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath. There you go. All right, scare everyone away. End it now.
Thanks, guys.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.